She was beautiful, she was talented, she was the Princess of R&B, the girl who changed the sound of an entire generation. But behind the music, behind the fame, was a story filled with pain, betrayal, and tragedy. Aaliyah's rise was meteoric, but her fall came far too soon. From an illegal marriage at 15 to a life surrounded by some of music's biggest and most controversial names, this is the tragic story of Aaliyah Dana Haughton. Born in Brooklyn in 1979 and raised in Detroit, Aaliyah seemed destined for greatness. At just 10, she was performing on stage alongside Gladys Knight. But that same year, she became entangled in a dark secret that would haunt her forever. This isn't just a story about music, it's a story about control, exploitation, and how one of the biggest stars in R&B was gone before she could truly shine. Aaliyah met R. Kelly when she was just 12 years old. He was 24, already a rising name in R&B. The two were introduced by Aaliyah's uncle, Barry Hankerson, who was Kelly's manager at the time. Kelly saw something in the young girl, a gift, a voice that could change R&B. He began writing and producing songs for her debut album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. But the relationship between the mentor and his young protege wasn't just professional. In 1994, at just 15 years old, Aaliyah legally married R. Kelly, who was 27. The marriage certificate listed her age as 18, falsified with the help of a $500 bribe for a fake ID. Years later, court documents and testimonies will confirm that the ceremony was conducted by a pastor who had no idea Aaliyah was underage. They were married for only a short time. Her parents annulled it in 1995 and she cut off all contact with Kelly after that. Aaliyah never spoke publicly about what happened, but those close to her said she just wanted to move on and be free. Kelly would go on to be convicted decades later for trafficking and abuse, but Aaliyah never got to see justice in her lifetime. Over the years, Aaliyah's name has been linked to several powerful men in the music industry, Timbaland, Jay-Z, and Diddy among them. Timbaland once admitted he had a brief crush on Aaliyah when they met, but he immediately recognized she was too young and instead became a protective, brotherly figure in her life. However, the comments were deemed to be a little bit weird. Jay-Z reportedly showed interest in her when she was an adult, but their connection never went beyond a short-lived friendship. After the annulment, Aaliyah focused completely on her career. In '96, she released One in a Million, produced by Timbaland and Missy Elliott. It changed everything, blending futuristic beats with her smooth vocals, redefining R&B for the late 90s. She wasn't just a singer anymore, she was a trendsetter. With her signature baggy pants, shades, and mysterious aura, Aaliyah became an icon for a generation. By 2000, she had broken into acting with Romeo Must Die alongside Jet Li, and she was set to become a global superstar. Her future looked unstoppable, but in the shadows of success, there were still whispers and complications, and some of the people around her would later become part of an even darker scandal. In the years after her split from R. Kelly, Aaliyah found herself in the same social circles as hip-hop's biggest names, including Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs. By 2000, Aaliyah was dating Damon Dash, Jay-Z's business partner at Rockefeller Records. But according to people who were there, Jay-Z always had eyes on her. At a 4th of July party in the Hamptons, that same year, photos captured Jay-Z dancing closely with Aaliyah, laughing, smiling, arm around her shoulder. Those who attended said Jay-Z seemed besotted. Dash himself later confirmed that Jay-Z had tried very hard to win Aaliyah's heart. In his words, everybody was trying to get to Aaliyah, it wasn't just Jay. But Aaliyah chose Damon Dash. The two grew close, and Damon would later reveal that they had planned to get married before her death. After Aaliyah passed, Jay-Z paid tribute in a remix of her song Miss You, referencing the Hamptons and their shared memories. Still, over the years, conspiracy theories emerged online, linking Jay-Z to Aaliyah's death. Theories with no evidence and credibility. However, the links and ties to Diddy and Jay-Z and what has happened to Diddy since highlights that there could have been a link to Aaliyah. August 25, 2001, Aaliyah was in the Bahamas filming the music video for her single Rock the Boat. The shoot had gone well, she looked radiant, happy, full of plans for her next film, Queen of the Damned. But tragedy struck that evening. When it was time to fly back to Miami, Aaliyah reportedly refused to board the plane. According to witness Kingsley Russell, who worked with her team that day, she had a headache and wanted to rest. She took a sleeping pill and went back to the car to lie down, but her crew, anxious to get home, allegedly carried her aboard while she was still asleep. Moments after takeoff, the plane crashed about 200 feet past the runway. All 9 people on board, including Aaliyah, were killed instantly. She was just 22 years old. Investigations revealed the plane was overloaded by several hundred pounds, carrying one more passenger than it was certified for. The pilot, he wasn't even qualified, and toxicology tests later found cocaine and alcohol in his system. It was a disaster that should never have happened. Aaliyah's family later sued Virgin Records, alleging negligence in the flight arrangements, but the case was quietly settled in 2003. Her death left a hole in the heart of the music world. Missy Elliott and Timbaland were devastated. Damon Dash said losing her was like losing his soulmate. Even though she was only 22, Aaliyah changed music forever. She helped shape the sounds of the 2000s, from Sierra to Beyoncé. Her influence was still everywhere. Her albums continue to stream millions of times. Her fashion is still copied, and her mystique still captivates. But beyond the fame, there's something deeper about Aaliyah's story, something that speaks to the dark side of fame and the exploitation of young artists. She was talented enough to conquer the world, but she wasn't protected by it. Aaliyah's life is a reminder, not just of brilliance, but of the price of innocence in an industry that too often forgets humanity in the pursuit of success. Aaliyah once said, "I stay true to myself and my style, and I'm always pushing myself to be aware of that and be original." And that's exactly how she will always be remembered. Original, fearless, and one in a million.